Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Everything with Alina. So today's episode is about building confidence, as you probably saw from the title. That's the reason why you clicked on the episode. It says building confidence or whatever. So I'm going to go through parts to make yourself more confident and just what I've learned, and especially with being it's weird saying a podcaster, but technically I am because I have a podcast and I post on it and I'm talking to you right now. It's definitely so fun, for sure. It's the funnest thing I've ever done. But also, when I was starting it, I was really scared because I started it last year, actually, because I'm filming this on the 1st of January. So I started the podcast last year in March. March is when I first came up with the idea, but I didn't actually start posting until June, which again, I think part of a reason why I started posting in June was because it was summer. So I was free. I was more open to work on it. And also, so then I wouldn't be embarrassed going back to school and really, oh, you have a podcast. And I'm still finishing school. I was scared of what people might think about it, but because I'm constantly promoting it on my social media and I'm constantly filming stuff and talking about stuff and all of this that goes back to my podcast, I kind of got scared. What if people like think it's weird or like think that it's lame that I have a podcast? And I was really scared of that. But then once I started junior year with the podcast, people would they would come up and be like, "Oh yeah, you have the podcast. How's that going?" And I was like, "Oh, it's going really good." I wanted to be humble. I didn't really want to talk about it, talk their ear about how I started a podcast. But then there would be some people who were like, "Oh, what do you post on it? Can I be in an episode? This is so cool. What made you have the idea to start it? It's so cute," and all of this. So then I was like, "Oh, people like this type of thing that I do." I became more open and being like, "Hey, yes, I do have a podcast. You can listen to it here, here, here," and all this. And that's when my confidence really went up. So in this episode, we're going to talk about it. Welcome to the podcast. Today's episode is about confidence, not the version you see online, not the kind that looks perfect, polished, or fearless. We're talking about real confidence, the kind that exists even when your voice is shaking, the kind that stays with you when you fail, and the kind you build quietly when no one's watching. So, if you've ever felt too awkward, too shy, too behind, or like everyone has a manual for life and you missed it, this is exactly the episode for you. So, part one, why is confidence so hard? Let's be honest, most people don't struggle with confidence because they're lazy or weak. They struggle because they're aware. They think deeply, they care, and they notice things. Confidence isn't hard because you're broken, it's hard because you're human. And especially if you're a teen, you're definitely probably dealing with so much pressure on your hands. If you're in high school, college, just constant comparison, pressure to perform, pressure to fit in, and pressure to be something already. And I know that is a lot. So if you feel unsure of yourself, that doesn't mean you're failing, it means you're growing. What confidence actually is. Let's redefine confidence. Confidence is not believing you'll succeed. Confidence is believing, no matter what happens, I can handle this. That's really just something that you need to know. No matter what happens, I can handle this. Confident people still get nervous, overthink, doubt themselves, and feel scared. The difference? They don't let those feelings stop them. Confidence isn't the absence of fear, it's the willingness to move with fear. Here's the biggest lie we're being told. Once I feel confident, then I'll act. But confidence doesn't come before action. Confidence comes after action. So, for an example, if you think, oh, I kind of want to do this sport, or I want to do this play, or I want to start a podcast, or I want to be an influencer, I want to do all of these things, but I'm not really confident right now. I'll do it later. I'll go to bed and then I'll think maybe tomorrow if I feel confident, then I'll put my phone up and I'll start recording me playing this sport or me recording a podcast. And if you continue going with this, once I'm confident, then I act, you never really act. And I feel like this was with me so much with making the podcast. I was always like, you know what? I'm going to start recording and publishing and editing once I'm ready. Once I feel confident, then I'll do it. And that's why it took me that so long from March to June of not publishing anything or just being like, oh, I'm going to record some episodes, but stay tuned, guys. So stay tuned. And then it gets to a point where you're like, is she ever going to release this? Like, why is she promoting it so much just to not be released? And I feel like this was so much because of my fear of failure and my fear of what if people think of me differently? What if people make fun of it or think this or think that? So then that's why I started in June and I was like, you know what? I have 2 months and nobody's going to even know. Like, I'm not going to see these people from my school. So I'm just going to do it. And the confidence became after the action because after I published my first episode, I was scared, but then people really liked it. Like, I would, like, again, I'm not trying to be, oh, I have such a big ego. People love listening to me. Have tons of followers and I'm Emma Chamberlain level success. I'm not. I have 72 Instagram followers. I get 10 to 20 views on each thing. Some only get 5 views. I only get, on some videos I only get 7 listens or 3 listens or no listens. And I'm not gonna give up because it's kind of, oh, I worked so hard and I find joy doing this. Yes, it would be cool to be Emma Chamberlain famous of, oh, millions of people listen to my stuff. Like, many people listen, they all love it. I'm famous, that would be cool, like, it would be surreal, but that's not my goal. My goal is just to release stuff and to publish stuff that I'm proud of and that I enjoy doing. And that came after the fear of, oh, what if I don't do this? Maybe I shouldn't do this. Like, I could do something else. But then seeing just my 72 followers, I'm so grateful for all 72 of you. If you're listening to this or you hear this or whatever, I love every single one of my followers because I think that's just cool. And so it makes me feel so grateful that these 72 people clicked follow on Instagram because they want to see my stuff. They're interested in what I do. It makes me so happy. And if I didn't have the confidence, I wouldn't have this. But again, confidence comes after the action because I didn't feel good about my podcast until after I released it. Once I released my pop music one in June, I fell in love with it. I loved having a podcast. So think about it. You weren't confident walking until you fell. You weren't confident talking until you messed up the words. You weren't confident at anything until you tried it badly first. So if you wait to feel confident, you're going to wait forever. And this goes back to, yes, you're going to fail. I remember I was recording a whole episode and I was talking for 30 minutes. None of it recorded. I did it wrong. And did I give up? Yes, I gave up for that day. But then the next day I was like, you know what? I'll record it again and I'll make sure to do it correctly. And I recorded it again and I did it correctly. So it's kind of, and then I had a bunch of failures when I was making this podcast because I just so vividly remember I was trying to make a Spotify for creators for the podcast and I was using my personal one and it wasn't working. And I was like, why isn't this working? Because originally my podcast name was going to be Everything Pop, Sports, and Random with Alina. Obviously, it's now Everything with Alina. I feel like Everything Pop, Sports, Random with Alina is so long. And at the time, I liked that long name. I liked how it was like, oh, what podcast are you listening to? Oh, Everything Pop, Sports, and Random with Alina. But then I was like, this is a long name. People aren't going to remember this. So then that's where I decided to change it and I'll just do Everything with Alina. That's short, it's sweet, it's simple, but I went through all the failures making that account. It was So somewhere on Spotify, it says everything pop, sports, and random with Alina. And with I think it has no episodes because my episodes would not load. So that's also kind of why I took such a long time. I was like, what is going on? This isn't working. And I was getting so disappointed in it all. I'm not going to do this podcast anymore. I'm just going to stop it. There's no point of doing it because I'm failing. But I didn't get that confidence of, you know what, I'm going to persevere. I'm going to do this. And I finally worked hard and I released that first episode. And again, I felt amazing after. And I'm not trying to be, oh, I suffered and I struggled so much making this podcast. I'm not trying to make it sound like I struggled so much to publish one episode. And I know it's probably sounding like, oh, why is she talking so much about publishing an episode of struggles? That's not even that big, or it's not even that big of a failure or whatever. But for me, it was. I really felt like maybe podcast isn't for me. Maybe it's not something I should do. And again, I'm talking about this not as, oh, I have millions of people who listen to me and they're all going to start crying when they hear this podcast episode. No, it's just something that I feel is important to say, because without me failing and finally getting back up and releasing these episodes, I wouldn't have the amazing fan base that I have right now of all 72 of you. That's what I'm trying to say. So, moving on. Comparison. Confidence's biggest enemy. Let's talk about comparison. Comparison doesn't just steal joy, it steals confidence. Because when you compare yourself to others, you're usually comparing your behind the scenes to their highlight reel. You see their wins, but you don't see the failures. And here's something important. Someone else's confidence does not mean you lack it. There is room for everyone. You don't need to be better than others. You just have to be honest with yourself. And I see all these people doing podcasts that have more followers than me and are more popular and have more consistent videos. And I think, wow, their podcast is so perfect. But then I just think of me struggling to upload stuff, me accidentally deleting stuff, me accidentally not recording stuff. And I think everybody has these struggles as either a podcaster or a YouTuber, an influencer, and out of the whole media category in sports. People mess up on a big game, they get hurt. There's all of these factors that lead up to somebody's dream and somebody's passion. And this goes back to the whole comparison. I know I mentioned comparison so much in my podcast episodes, but I feel like that's something that especially teenage girls go through a lot of, comparing your life to other people's lives. And you compare it to influencers' lives, and you're the star student at your school, and maybe siblings, maybe some members, some cousins, your neighbors, your best friends. There's always people who are going to compare themselves to you and to others. You may think, oh, my friends Becky, I wish I was like her. And Becky may be thinking, I wish I was like her, meaning to you. And it goes back to when you compare yourself so much to someone, you forget the goodness of your life. You think, my life sucks. I wish I was them. But then you think, no, I like my life. I like how I have this, and I like this about me, and I like that about me. I like my hair. I like my eyes. My clothes. There's always things that you're gonna love about yourself. It might take you a while to find it, but when you find it, it's amazing. Just to think, I like myself how I am. I'm perfect. I'm pretty, and I like what I do and how I do it. Confidence starts with self-trust. What is self-trust? Self-trust is you know what you'll say you'll do. You show up even when it's uncomfortable. You don't abandon yourself when things get hard. Every time you keep a small promise to yourself, confidence grows. Small promises like, I'll try, I'll speak, I won't quit because it's hard. Confidence is built quietly. No one claps for it, but it changes everything. Me with my whole debacle of maybe it's not for me. Maybe what I love to do isn't for me. And it sounds crazy when I say it like that. Maybe something I find so fun isn't what I'm supposed to do. And that's totally not the thing. That's totally not what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say is, for me at least, thinking maybe a podcast isn't right for me. Which is crazy to say because, as you guys know, I love this podcast with all my heart and it's something that I love doing. But if I didn't have that little thing inside my head saying, that little like thought, my brain saying, we have to continue the podcast. You already promised people it. And I was promising people that I was going to release episodes like in March. I'm like, guys, stay tuned. They're going to come out. They're going to come out. And I wasn't doing it. And I felt bad because even at the time, I only had like 20 followers. I don't want to let those 20 followers down. I don't want those 20 people to think that I don't keep my promises, that I give up easily, that I didn't love it, that I got sick of it, that I was doing it for fun. I didn't want people to think that because then it would change how people feel about me. Like, oh, maybe we shouldn't have her do that. She kind of gives up on it. Or when I'm applying for stuff and I'm going to write the podcast down, they're going to be looking at it and being like, oh, she only released 2 episodes like 5 years ago. This isn't something she loves. Even though if you watch my first videos and my first episode about whatever I talked about, it's probably going to be cringe. I'm probably going to sound like annoying or really young, but that's just who I was going into it. Thinking I'm going to listen to this and I'm going to make myself happy. So that kind of goes to the self-trust of just telling yourself, making small promises, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And because I did it, I have this podcast. Now, we are going pretty far. Everyone's timeline is different. Again, with me, I waited a little bit till I published my episodes. That was a choice for me and something that I personally felt like I had to do for my well-being is not post until June. Here I am now trying to post pretty frequently. It's not like you're gonna magically be confident in anything that you do. Like, you're not going to wake up and be, I'm so confident, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. No, it takes months, it takes days, months, weeks even. And for me, I'm getting pretty confident in myself and I like who I am and what I do. But I wasn't always this way. Definitely this past year and a half has really changed me in so many ways that I have to stop caring what other people think. What if they think it's cringe? What if they think it's weird? It's something that I truly love and I make myself proud. So I'm going to continue doing it. So that's what I just wanted to keep and just mention for you guys because that's just something that's so important to me. And I feel like, especially in this time with social media and friend groups and school and everything, I don't even know, but confidence is definitely something that people need to talk about. So, yeah. If you guys enjoyed, please like, share, comment, subscribe. I don't know. I hope you guys really enjoyed because this is something that I really wanted to talk about for a long time. And I love you guys so much. I'll see you at the next episode. Bye.